So, welcome back to my channel, Fiction Star. I hope you have enjoyed the first part of the series, so let's begin to the second part of the series. The series name is What If Naruto Married with Kaguya? So let's start the second part of the series. Do not wasting any time. The ground dried fairly fast after the surprising hurricane. The very subsequent day, Konoha changed into bursting with lifestyles again, simply because it turned into earlier than. Now not many human beings chatted approximately it, believing it to be a one-off. There were different things human beings have been fussed approximately together with the statement of the fifth Hokage. The news became met with mixed responses. A few humans didn't thoughts it, believing inside the Sandame's choice. Others were much less enthused. A sturdy distrust in the Uchiha clan lay within them. Contributors of the clan itself have been aesthetic. An Uchiha Hokage turned into an excellent idea. Shursui appeared enthusiastic about it. Talking of Shursui, he had informed Sasuke to meet the day of the hurricane, but because of the harsh climate situations, they commenced education the day after. Currently, the driest place to practice turned into Training Ground 12. It was primarily blanketed in stone that dried fairly speedy. There were a few timber on the outskirts that were utilized for various sporting events. The younger Uchiha specially desired to learn how to shunshin like his superior, believing it'd be very beneficial when moving about in the dark. Shursui began with something less drastic. That is how you throw a punch. He punched the tree stump. It shook barely, green leaves and acorns falling from the numerous branches and landing onto the floor. Sasuke hated being 5 again. I know a way to throw a punch, he stated, his voice calm, however his fists clenched at his aspects. Train me something higher, Shursui-sensei. He almost whined. How? Approximately a kick-a-jutsu. You are too younger to research whatever massive. The elder answered, wagging his finger within the air as if the younger infant become being naughty. The time traveler's face went crimson on the gesture. No, I am no longer. Sasuke didn't imply to get so mad, but, in fact, he was a person of 17 years who had just been accused of being too young for high-ranking techniques. Cursed the outcomes of time journey that cruelly forbade him from telling the fact. The butterfly impact become a bitch. Sasuke-kun, come right here. Shursui beckoned him over with his hand, and the student walked over to his trainer, simplest to get poked on the brow. His hand instinctively went up to it, and he appeared his sensei with a taken-aback expression on his face. We're going to work our way up, he stated with a wonderful huge smile. Sasuke simplest nodded, too stunned to make every other reaction. Going with the drift changed into excellent, in Naruto's opinion. He simply failed to like how the entirety changed into one of a kind now. But wasn't that the factor? He should live with Sasuke's dad being the Godame Hokage. But he puzzled what could take place with Tsunade. Could Jiraiya go to Tanzaka City with him to find her, despite now not seeking out a candidate to turn out to be the 5th Hokage? It would not make sense for Pervy Sage to do this, and in the event that they by no means went to get Tsunade, Sakura might never emerge as her apprentice. Hell, perhaps his pink-haired teammate would never turn out to be her apprentice because Sasuke wasn't going to go away this time. Currently, the blonde took walks through the forests within Konoha. He realized that he were given in his head loads while thinking of the future and unconsciously started a recurring. His toes overwhelmed dead leaves on the ground, growing a noisy crunching sound as he strolled along. He should pay attention the identical sound coming from any other path. He regarded over to wherein the sound become coming from, however an inexperienced bush become in his manner. It feels like 2, no, 3 humans. He notioned, concentrating at the noises. After they became loud and clear, speedy and near, a head poked out of the bush, followed by means of 2 extra. They had been boys from the academy. Hey, appearance who it's Miles. The only inside the center yelled. He smirked and stood straighter as he looked at Naruto. It is this loser. The Jinchuriki almost groaned. The 2 other boys gave every other quizzical looks. What do you suggest? The only on Naruto's left requested. Failed to your parents alert you approximately him? The chief wondered them. He is a loser. His pals shrugged at every different, stepping back and permitting him to do something. He thrilled. The blonde attempted to regain the man. He had brown hair, brown eyes, and he wore a brown shirt. I'm sensing a theme. He notioned to himself, almost chuckling. It changed into one of these fundamental look, no surprise he couldn't recall the boy. It becomes simply any other face the various anonymous sea of classmates. What's your name? Naruto asked, inflicting him to frown. It's Bunzo, you butthead. The brown-haired pupil spoke back. His buddies snickered into their palms behind him at the unwell burn. Nope. Does not strike a chord. Okay. Bye. Naruto proceeded to stroll right by means of them. However, Bunzo stood in the front of him, his smirk once more forming. You are now not going anywhere, Monster Fox. The Jinchuriki iced over on the words, no longer having heard them in a long term. It brought lower back plenty of darkish recollections, prepared before he had emerged as Konoha's hero. Not most effective whispers, however, moments of him being shunned by using the village entered his mind. He hated how he was discriminated towards for being something that was out of his manage. It wasn't just the village who did this, he had an entire criminal corporation out to get him. Naruto really did get lost in his head plenty now. Like a whirlwind, flashbacks of his run-ins with the Akatsuki seemed in his mind. He remembered the appears on human beings' faces once they noticed him become clean, catching the punch Bunzo aimed toward his face. He squeezed his fist into his hand, making the boy whine in pain. What are you doing? He asked, the use of his different hand to push Naruto away and retreat. Forestall it. It hurts. If I'm a monster fox, Kurama began, speaking from within Naruto. The host mouthed the phrases, pink eyes obtrusive holes into Bunzo. All three boys stared at them in horror. Do you surely suppose you should make me indignant? That doesn't seem so sensible. The time traveler allowed move of the boy's fist. In sync, all of them screamed and ran away from him. He failed to sense appropriate approximately it. In fact, he felt horrible. And mad. He becomes so fucking mad. He took a breath and calmed himself down, repressing certain memories in his head. To be able to calm himself down, he determined to try and solve a distinctive problem he turned into facing. Sensing any other chakra inside the area, Naruto made a show of climbing up a tree to satisfy the Anbu spy. Sure, the Sandaime nevertheless had no longer gotten rid of his babysitter. It changed into unfair, he turned into entitled to a few privacy. Anbu-san, the blonde said to the white-haired guy reading in a tree. How old is he here? He is 20 and he reads that stupid book. The person made no response, so the Jinchuriki moved even closer to him. Then, he attempted to poke his foot, but Kakashi moved it away. Naruto stretched his arm out, but the Anbu moved his FT into the air, his eyes never leaving the e-book. In a final attempt, he jumped on his future teacher. Kakashi stuck him, too amazed to stay away from. What? He relented, preserving his sensei's son through the collar. Minato's son struggled against the grip, flailing about inside the air. Hi, Naruto stated after he gave up. The man changed into now not inspired. I instructed Gigi I did not want anybody following me. He continued. It's first rate. The Jinchuriki sighed aloud. He forgot what Kakashi changed into like, especially in their genin days. The man turned into impossible. Anbu-san, you need to forestall looking me while analyzing that pervy e-book. It is simply creepy. Kakashi gave the boy an atypical look. How do about this e-book? You are 5. Almost 6. In a few months. Answer the query. I saw Gigi reading it one time. He explained. It wasn't a lie, it just came about manner into the future. Naruto felt happy with himself. He had never notioned so quick in his lifestyles whilst not in combat. The son of the White Fan was not surprised. A few humans within the internal circle of Konoha knew what the Sandaime might be like. He turned into a closet pervert. No surprise Jiraiya turned into the manner he changed into. So ought to you prevent following me, Anbu-san? No. Naruto went red. Why? He yelled. I am going to report you, agree with it. I made a promise. Kakashi spoke back, causing his future student to pause his threats. He appeared the Anbu with a curious look, wondering what he changed into thinking about. What promise? Never mind. The Hitaki let pass of the blonde, who dropped onto the ground with a loud thud. He fumbled about, status up and searching on the tree with a harsh glare. However, Kakashi had disappeared and he couldn't feel his chakra signature anymore. Naruto waited for a second, considering the stumble upon. A promise? He by no means instructed me anything approximately that. As tons as he idea approximately it, he wasn't going to get a solution. Exasperatedly, he exhaled and endured on with his walk now. All he ought to consider was how he would not permit his sensei die in this timeline. Shifting returned into Konoha was atypical to Sasuke. People gave them very ordinary glances and he hated it. His father had advised them to stand instantly and stroll as the Hokage's own family collectively. He did as Fugaku stated, feeling superior to anybody else. It felt best. As Fugaku had instructed his family, some Uchiha commenced to transport into the village and a brand new Uchiha district was created. There have been certain perks about the arrangement. They were near the Hokage Tower so the Godame could carry out his duties efficaciously. They were also near the academy so Sasuke may want to travel there easily. Of route, a few humans from the extended family refused to transport, and stayed outdoor of the village. The ones humans consisted often of older folks, the folks who had in all likelihood now not forgiven being pushed out of the village in the first vicinity. Shursui had moved round the corner to the top own family with his parents. Within the moment they located out, he had by chance allowed it slip to Itachi that he had been education with Sasuke. It'll be less complicated for us to educate now, right, Sasuke-kun? He had requested, patting his head. Itachi's eyes widened for a break-up 2D as he looked at his younger brother. Uncertain of what else to do, Sasuke shrugged. There has been no going back now. Later on that day, Itachi and Shursui had a communication. Sasuke couldn't overpay attention it, and he did not try, too concerned that they might note it. It in all likelihood wasn't critical, right? Naruto became satisfied Sasuke was moving into the village. He wasn't allowed within the first Uchiha district, but he became allowed into the second. This would make it more plausible that they have been buddies, plus, he could set up some pranks. Sometimes, Kakashi might reappear, hiding within the timber. It became anxious to the blonde. He sincerely desired his Destiny Sensei to prevent following him, however the guy become as stubborn as hell. As a minimum, he and Sasuke should still talk at the academy with nobody watching them. He just was hoping that no person became losing on them. Properly, certainly, the two-time visitors were pressured to speak about something random whilst Sakura commenced spying on them. That they had no idea what introduced this transformation on, however, every so often, she might try and examine them. And that they weren't the nice at disguising their conversations. The weather's best these days, Sasuke stated as soon as he felt Sakura's chakra signature. Speaking approximately, the climate is very suspicious. Naruto might respond in a hushed tone, his hand cupped round his friend's ear as he did so. While he returned, the Uchiha stared at him as if he had done something silly. We need to do something about Sakura, Sasuke stated sooner or later as the two of them walked lower back domestic from the academy. They lived inside the equal direction, and they have been lucky that Kakashi wasn't watching Naruto within the second. I suppose we need to invite her to be our buddy, Naruto recommended. And that I recognize what you're gonna say, but if we become her buddy, she'll hang with us after which depart. That's why we start speak me about crucial stuff. I agree. I knew you would say this, team. But you have to hear me out. He paused, turning to the raven-haired boy. Wait, what? I said I agree. Sasuke repeated himself irritably. If the three people establish a friendship in our early years, it's going to support our dynamics as a team in the Destiny. Additionally, Sakura developing up shy may have a few unintentional results that we should keep away from. So, we need to assist her get out of her shell. Naruto did not say whatever in reaction at the start. He felt like he should not have been as bowled over as he became. That is what I used to be thinking. He eventually responded, subconsciously slowing down. You in no way simply speak about it. What took place with Kaguya Forstall? Sasuke snapped his head to the dobe, his Sharingan activated. Naruto knew it wasn't a hazard. It turned into a reminder. His Dijutsu become activated while their teammate died. He remembered it vividly. Her smile, the tone of her voice, and the sensation of her ashes in his fingers. He remembered every single element. It turned into burnt into his thoughts. He could also see Kakashi's loss of life. He turned into disposed of as if he were not anything but an insignificant inconvenience to the rabbit goddess. They didn't speak for the rest of the walk. However, when they reached Sasuke's residence, Mikoto waved at the two boys as she was standing outdoor, tending to the plant life they had in the front of the residence. She very lots enjoyed going to the Yamanaka flower shop. "Naruto-kun, how are you these days?" she asked as the boys got nearer. "I'm remarkable, Mikoto-sama. You? How frequently do I have to inform you? Just call me Mikoto." Naruto might have loved to call her that, but Sasuke forbade him from doing it. He did not realize why, however, just raised his palms in defeat after they argued. "Sasuke-kun, are you prepared to begin schooling?" Shursui questioned them, acting to their facet. "The Dobe's training with us," he responded, tilting his head in the blonde's course. The latter snapped his head into the former's direction, careworn because they had not mentioned this in any respect. "Okay, certain," the elder male replied, vanishing from their sight. He turned into making his manner to the schooling discipline. "Where's Aniki?" Sasuke asked his mother. She told him that Itachi become on an undertaking earlier than the time-traveling duo accompanied after their sensei. She then yelled after them to live safe. It must be quality. "Having them returned," Naruto said as they ran. Sasuke looked at him and noticed the unhappy glint in his eyes. While he were given his own family lower back, the Jinchuriki changed into nonetheless an orphan. It seemed unfair that they had the danger to trade matters, however they couldn't change the Kyuubi's assault. "It's far," he responded truly, no longer understanding what else to mention. His teammate nodded, flashed him a smile, after which persevered searching on ahead. Schooling with Shursui was bizarre. He first verified a way to punch a tree, which angered Sasuke. After that, he started out to paintings on his students' taijutsu. Of root they held returned. There was no manner they might let Shursui realize that they were extra advanced, and they let on. So, they could simply pretend to be boys who pick strategies up a whole lot faster than the average ninja. Being from the Uzumaki and Uchiha clans, it ought to make field. Once training ended, Naruto dragged Sasuke to Ichiraku. All through the whole consultation, Kakashi became watching them. Shursui seemed to have observed, but he understood the white-haired man's motives. Tucci changed into simply the same as he continually was. While his favorite client entered, he already began making ready his standard first order. However, he did a double take while he noticed Sasuke. "Sasuke-sama," he abruptly gasped upon seeing the boy. The son of the Hokage had simply came into his ramen stall. He felt like he changed into going to pass out. The Uchiha gave his order as he sat on the stool. The proprietor nodded and started out getting ready it. As he did so, Naruto began describing his day to Tucci and Ayam. The raven-haired boy stayed quiet as the others chatted. It have been hours in the past, however he nevertheless felt awful for Naruto. The boy who become no longer given a hazard to store his mother and father. He failed to understand what to do to make him feel higher. He felt like he needed to apologize. He turned into satisfied that he ended up inviting Naruto to teach. Maybe that counted as an apology. In spite of it happening earlier than it wasn't tons of an apology either way. Perhaps Sasuke didn't have something to be sorry about. Although, he did recognize that he turned into fortunate on this feel. They have been operating to save his family, and the blonde changed into simply staying quiet and assisting out. If he turned into to do something for Naruto, he should discover what the Dobe might want to change. Become there something his teammate wished failed to take place, especially to him? The only factor that got here to thoughts became the stigma positioned on him as a Jinchuriki. There has been additionally the truth that he went domestic to an empty rental. Maybe I should ask my family to adopt him. He chuckled to himself at the thought. There was Jiraiya, who Naruto thought of as a grandpa. The blonde had informed Crew 7, after Tsunade again to the village, that the Toad Sage acted like a grandfather to him, sharing an ice lolly with him. However, the pervert turned into nowhere to be observed at this point. He nearly slammed his head on the bar. That is going to be as disturbing as Sakura. A ways away, near the border of the land of fireplace, there was an old-fashioned, little city. A sign at the entrance said that there has been only a population of 1,000 humans. The most visited building within the city changed into the New Springs. Travelers would take a few days without work and revel in the delight they would sense within the warm water. Jiraiya became now not within the steaming warm water. He stood on pinnacle of the building, looking the women facet with a telescope. This research changed into critical for his subsequent ebook. He turned into extra silent this time. One of the new characters within the series changed into a robust, independent monster of a woman. She had blonde hair, a huge bust size, and had a puppy pig named Danan, which turned into why he turned into spying on Tsunade in the hot springs. Pervert, one of the different women screamed, pointing up at him. A lot for being extra cautious, Jiraiya thought. He regarded returned at Tsunade and noticed that she became no longer there. That best suppose she turned into already at the hunt for him. He ran as speedy as he may want to, however Tsunade stuck him. He nearly died a second time. 3 days later, he awakened in a random room. Uncertain of in which he turned into, he attempted to get up, however felt a kick to his returned. His teammate stood over him with a hellish facial expression. Her assistant sat by using the door, Taunton resting in her lap. Jiraiya, she hissed, giving Orochimaru a run for his money. Why were you peeking inside the warm springs? I wasn't peeking, he protested, however Handiest earned some other kick to his lower back. I used to be, but it changed into studies. She kicked him a third time. I will never do it once more. He valued his lifestyles, and manifestly, he changed into lying. What are you doing right here? Tsunade requested, allowing him to in the end sit up. She knew that he would not simply are trying to find her out for research. I've some information. Koharu Yutane, Hamura Mitokado and Danzo Shimura are all lifeless. Jiraiya introduced, inflicting the girls within the room to stiffen. Taunton opened her mouth in shock. What does that must do with me? The Sannin with big electricity questioned her antique teammate. Sarutobi-sensei has stepped down as Hokage, with Fugaku Uchiha taking his vicinity. The two of us have been asked to come to be part of his council of Konoha. Manipulating the fabric of time became a risky sport. Easy action may want to purpose disastrous effects, a series of occasions that would lead to a multitude of unexpected instances. A butterfly flapping its wings could purpose a storm miles away. What approximately accidentally stepping on a butterfly? Who knew what might happen? Naruto did not mean to do it, he simply wasn't looking wherein he become going. As he strolled through the wooded area, he were given lost in his head. This brought about the disaster before him: a dead insect. Its blue wings had been crumpled and a disgusting liquid oozed out of its frame as it lay at the ground, dead. It had this sort of big lifestyles ahead of it until it were given trapped into the spider web in which it was at once flying to. It died, all because the Jinchuriki decided to move on a walk after screaming, flailing round in horror and wiping his sandal on a rock. The blonde prayed to Hagoromo for the insect and was hoping the outcomes wouldn't spiral out of control. After Sasuke informed him approximately the butterfly impact, he pressured himself to think earlier than every action which changed into, quite obviously, not his strong point. If he was disturbing approximately something as easy as a useless insect, you could wager how involved he turned into approximately the much large choices they, or Sasuke, had made. First of all, there has been the demise of the elders. Naruto failed to like killing, he would simplest do it if he needed to, or even then, he by no means landed the killing blow except with Yura, who he believed was Itachi on the time. So, the idea to kill Koharu, Hamura and Danzo made him feel queasy. However, he understood his teammates' motives. This already brought about Fugaku Uchiha becoming Hokage. Naruto failed to recognize how to experience about it in the beginning. It turned into cool, team being the son of a Hokage. It became like they have been twins. However, the Dobe saw how his teammate changed into dealt with the aid of everybody, even Tuchi. Like he become a golden, untouchable god, much like how Konohamaru changed into dealt with, something he had by no means experienced earlier then, regardless of being the son of the Yondaime. You killed it. Naruto jumped, forgetting what he changed into thinking about. Startled that he failed to sense who it turned into, he whipped around and pointed at them with an accusing finger. Shino stood there, fingers in his pockets, and searching down on the useless butterfly. Shino Aburame. Whilst the Jinchuriki remaining saw him, he changed into battling in opposition to the Ten Tails clones, and turned into capable of preserve his own. In his authentic timeline, the crew 8 member was hard to get at the side of. Even more so as Naruto had forgotten his name after they met after 2.5 years. The blonde felt a peace terrible upon seeing him. He hadn't been retaining up with the human beings he knew on this changed timeline. This changed into particularly because he felt ordinary, talking to them as if he did not understand what turned into in their future. Therefore, he waited for the proper time to befriend them, however that never got here. Naruto might trade his courting with them on this timeline. Do not sneak up on me, Shino, he replied. Oh, and, yeah, I stepped on it, by accident. I assumed it'd be by using coincidence. Why, you ask? Due to the fact it would be merciless to kill an insect, particularly because you understand how tons a pal of yours is fond of them, the Aburame explained, his eyes boring into the time traveler's soul. Yeah, Naruto replied. Geez, he notioned folks as buddies whilst we had been 5. Why did he by no means speak to me? He failed to mention that he most effective discovered out about the worm consumer's jutsu at some point of the Chunin test's initial round. I thought we have been friends, but you never are looking for me out, Shino persisted, his head striking low as he remembered that one time he stood next to the dobe, who did not observe him. So, I determined to punish you via providing you with the silent treatment, but I agree with you've got suffered sufficient. Huh! It occurred to the Nine Tails host that his friendship with Sasuke might also have had a few outcomes too, one in every of which became Sakura's hobby in them, and now, the silent boy's friendship. Oh. He took a minute to consider what to mention subsequent. Okay. Wanna get some ramen? Shino walked away wordlessly. While he changed into some paces ahead, he looked again at the boy hopefully. Oh, proper! He exclaimed, walking after him. The following day, Sasuke and Naruto decided it became time to befriend Sakura. They could also ask Shisui to educate her, at the side of them, but now not for a bit while. The dobe changed into harassed that his teammate changed into so adamant about strengthening their teamwork. However, he went at the side of it if it supposed he and the pinkhead could be pals earlier than in the authentic timeline. They commenced easy. First off, they waited for her to stroll into the schoolroom and sit on the back. After that, the two of them strolled in and sat next to her, Sasuke in between his future teammates. She gave them a sideways look but quick scene back to the front. Iruka walked in, barked at a dozing scholar, Shikamaru. Kiba barked again, actually, and the complete class was pressured to do a pop quiz in retaliation. Kakashi's students all answered the check without problems, understanding the solutions to all the questions. Once they were allowed to play out of doors, Sasuke gestured his head at Sakura to Naruto. The latter rolled his eyes and planted a massive smile on his face. Hiya, Sakura-chan, he started, his voice booming all through the empty schoolroom. Stated lady checked out him with huge eyes. Wanna play ninja with me and Sasuke team? He asked. Positive. She replied, giving the Uchiha a fleeting look. Now, Sasuke by no means agreed to play ninja, usually because he was 17 and in part due to the fact he failed to understand how. The blonde explained the guidelines, which seemed to be a copy of Tag. The ninja turned into it. As a result, for the relaxation of their destroy, the institution of 3 played the game. They went easy on her, pretending to be slower than they without a doubt were. In the end, the men were given mad at one another and had a tag contest while the pinkhead barely giggled into her palms at the sidelines. When they returned to the class, they sat back inside the seats they were in. The Uchiha noticed that the cherry blossom's shoulders relaxed round them now. She constantly regarded hectic. He changed into glad she was getting comfortable round them. It made things a lot less difficult. Earlier than lunch, they learned approximately a number of the records of Konohagakure. Maximum of it was approximately the Shodaime Hokage. After the records lesson, at lunchtime, Naruto gestured his head to Sakura at Sasuke. The latter clenched his enamel but nodded. Sakura, she froze whilst he said her call. Dobe and I are going to eat at our spot. You should come with us. She nodded her head without searching at him and followed them to their typical tree. This time, they pointed out random things. At the same time as he felt bizarre doing it, Sasuke especially pointed out his circle of relatives. Naruto talked about a spread of topics, ramen, toads and his underclothes at some point. Sakura went crimson and Sasuke smacked him for the remaining one. The cherry blossom slightly spoke but she listened carefully, striking on to each phrase. Once they again lower back interior, They needed to break free Sakura as she needed to visit her kunoichi classes. As she left, she shyly waved at them and stated she might see them the next day. Naruto pumped his fist into the air and Sasuke smirked. Things had been going properly. Dinner at the Uchiha household was a complex occurrence. The boys inside the own family sometimes ate within the residence, but not all of the time. Fugaku turned into frequently busy with his Hokage obligations. Itachi had missions and Sasuke might consume with Naruto on a few occasions. Sasuke enjoyed eating with Naruto because ramen was pretty tasty, although he would in no way admit it to the blonde, and extra importantly, it gave him an excuse to keep away from his family. He would possibly have come off as ungrateful for his own family coming lower back, but he became genuinely glad they have been alive. It was simply tough to act around them. Otodo, Itachi began on the dinner desk. It become a rare time wherein all four of them have been present for the meal. The time tourist paused and checked out his elder brother. What did you do with Shursei-kun these days? He puzzled him. Taijutsu and Nikki, he responded, providing no similarly remark. His father nodded, his way of approval. Fugaku liked the idea of Sasuke schooling so early, in particular from a person as professional as Shursei Uchiha. It additionally gave Itachi extra time to paintings on missions and examine extended family duties from Yukumi. I need the two of you, Fugaku started, looking at his sons, to be at domestic the next day for dinner. We'll be hosting multiple honored guests who have lower back to Konoha after a long term. He completed. Who, Tusan? The youngest requested as he fiddled along with his meals. The two mythical Sannin, Jiraiya, the Toad Sage and Tsunadeheim. Sasuke could have performed a spit take if he had whatever in his mouth. The Sannin were coming to Konoha early? Why? What did they try this prompted this to manifest? They may be serving on the board of my council, alongside Sandaime-sama. A new council? Itachi asked. Will they be appearing as replacements for the elders? Sure. Sasuke felt that his face turned into betraying him. On every occasion somebody mentioned the elders, or made a connection with them, he thought that the entirety he became doing screamed guilty. He had gotten rid of all the proof the night he assassinated them, and a single suspect wasn't named. They assumed a member of the Foundation would have carried out it, but not anything said so. The group then had been allowed to decide what they would like to do with their lives. Most joined the Hokage Zanbu, and some determined they were not ninja without their leader. As they hadn't located the assassin, people had been hectic about residing amongst the killer. It regarded as even though every person believed they'd a target on their backs. The maximum in all likelihood objectives would be the Hokage and his council. So? Fugaku asked as he checked out his sons. Sasuke gave a stiff nod and Itachi verbally agreed. Their father nodded and dinner endured without any other event. Itachi silently praised his father. It became smart for him to ally with three relied on ninja in Konoha to reinforce his reputation. In particular on account that there have been a few human beings in Konoha who believed it was him who had killed the elders. The prodigy failed to recognize where he stood on that. His father had desired to come to be Hokage. However, how should he have carried it out without assist from the clan? Fugaku may also have had assist from some clan members. For instance, Yukumi seemed like a super candidate. But how could he have recognized he might grow to be Hokage? Why allow the Sandaime stay? Itachi compelled himself to stop. It became stupid to think about his father in this type of mild. No person in his own family ought to have performed any such thing. Woohoo! Naruto cheered at the schooling discipline once Sasuke instructed him the information. He became ecstatic that the Sannin were coming to the village early. Seeing Jiraiya again after see you later, it made him glad. He changed into virtually alive. Chill out. The Uchiha stated to him. It changed into the morning of the day they would arrive, and he notioned it would make sense to inform his time-traveling partner the news. He just wanted him to understand the results. Additionally, they're coming again to form my father's council. Which means that they're right here to stay. The blonde exclaimed, nevertheless smiling widely. You recognize, we may want to get Oba-chan to teach Sakura-chan early. Dobe, pay attention to me. He had enough. Do you understand what this means? They're going to be making decisions for Konoha. What is so terrible approximately that? The Jinchuriki asked. Who knows how tons will trade? He sighed. pinching the bridge of his nostril. His pal frowned at him. Anyway, it is time for our next point of business. Sasuke persisted. What's it? The blonde queried. If we are killing someone, I am gonna thump you. We are no longer. It is about Black Zetsu, the Uchiha answered, inflicting his pal to straighten up. They hadn't stated a word approximately the entity on the grounds that arriving, so it become odd that he become being added up now. What? Approximately him? We need to find and seal him. I thought you can create a robust seal for him. Why me? Naruto wondered. I've in no way been top with Fuinjutsu. The Uzumaki clan is thought for his or her chakra and seals. I know you can determine something out, Sasuke answered. Additionally, you have got Kurama with you to help you out. He should realize a few matters, approximately your mom, as she turned into his preceding host. All right. I will grasp Fuinjutsu so we will seal that unpleasant blob, Naruto cheered, inflicting Sasuke to kick his ass due to the fact he turned into being too loud. The boy fell to the ground, however quickly were given as much as price at him. But the Uchiha became already jumping away, a cocky smirk placed on his face. Thank you, Gigi, Naruto exclaimed after he had completed eating at Ichiraku. Ramen for lunch was continually extraordinary, but the issue became that he had no concept what to have for dinner. Sasuke had to eat with the Sannin. The blonde turned into still enthusiastic about that, so he didn't really know what to do with himself. Kurama had told him to go to the library and appearance up how to create seals in the morning. After a grueling few hours, he determined to get ramen and maintain with the paintings the following day. He failed to necessarily feel rushed to seal Black Zetsu. The Naruto at this factor becomes simplest 5 years old. I may want to continue, he notioned whilst he did not understand what else to do. Naruto, someone yelled. Stated boy turned round to see who shouted his call, and saw that it became Kiba. He became status next to Chuji and Shikamaru, the men all searching at him. The Jinchuriki walked up to them, barely careworn that they had been searching for him out. Sure, they were the hassled children lower back at the academy, however they didn't in reality talk outdoor of faculty. In particular this early in time. He remembered how they had been all doing within the war. The Inuzuka showed off his new approach that covered the shadow clone jutsu. Team 10 had been usually the nice at teamwork and used an exciting mixture pass. They have been all inside the countless Tsukiyomi whilst he left. Naruto took in a deep breath and requested them. What is it? We're playing conceal and are trying to find. Wanna play? Chuji supplied. He says it is now not so a laugh with best 3 people. Shikamaru brought, observed by way of a loud sigh. The blonde assumed he changed into the Akimichi. He turned into constantly type and likely desired to include him, which he from time to time did inside the authentic timeline. Naruto grinned. Positive, he agreed. The 4 Academy College students all played conceal and are seeking. They all were stumped as to where Naruto changed into, even the Nara. After they gave up, he discovered himself, chuckling at their astonished faces. Inform me what occurred. It all. Good day, come on. Inform me. Naruto changed into silence with a karate chop to the top through Sasuke. Oh. You better forestall hitting me, he yelled on the boy. You make it too clean. No surprise Sakura made you her punching bag. The Sharingan consumer responded. No, while Sakura-chan wants to punch you, the blonde whispered. There is simply no way to get away. He seemed to his right fast, as if the pinkette turned into looming round, seeking out a face to break. A long way away, Sakura was reading a book beneath a cherry blossom tree. She sneezed all at once and blamed the pollen. Sasuke gave him an unimpressed look. You are a ninja. You could simply effortlessly break out. Naruto shook his head unexpectedly as he remembered frightening moments in his life. And there may be sincerely nothing to tell. They came, ate, after which left. I recognize what dinner is. I am sincerely suitable at it. What did they are saying? The dobe requested excitedly. My father asked them in the event that they were willing to emerge as part of Konoha's council, and that they agreed. Even though Tsunade did appear reluctant. Oba-chan turned into a lot exceptional after I first met her, Naruto answered. I do not know a way to get her to open her eyes in this timeline. However, I will discover a way. Do not go befriending them, Sasuke warned him. They do not know who we're. Hiya, Erosenin taught my dad. He knew who I used to be while we first met. The Jinchuriki said, and I'm sure he can assist me out with Fuinjutsu. That struck the Uchiha's attention. Sealing Black Zetsu become a concern, to keep away from Kaguya's revival and avoid the stop of the humanity, which was quite a lot, the only cause they were dispatched back, first class. He relented. However, don't introduce Sakura and Tsunade. They're both exceptional in this timeline. We are now not aware about what will happen. Satisfactory. The Uzumaki additionally relented. He began to shape a plan to capture Jiraiya at the recent springs. He was most in all likelihood there. Kakashi-sensei's coming again. Let's fake we're sparring. The boys made a show of a pitiful academy scholar spar earlier than claiming they have been tired and going home. Naruto walked back to his condominium, aware that his future sensei changed into stalking him. Saving the world aside, he felt so bizarre while somebody changed into watching his every flow. He remembered every silly factor did whilst he changed into by myself. But maybe he wasn't alone whilst he did those things. His face turned crimson as he notioned about what the Kakashi from his very own timeline should have visible. Kurama snorted, amused. What? Naruto requested him. Oh, not anything. The beast spoke back innocently. He then laughed, making his host turn pink. Hi there! Why are you peeking on the lady's facet? A couple of loud shrieks have been heard on the women's aspect of the hot springs. Jiraiya's face turned crimson as he whipped around to the little boy. You! He snarled, pointing at Naruto. How dare a snot-nosed imbecile like you interfere with my studies? Research? The blonde replied. You were simply being a pervert. I am not a pervert. The Sannin all but screamed, extremely angry by the little boy's insinuation. How dare he accuse him of being perverted? I'm Jiraiya, the Toad Sage. Erosenin, you should not peek on ladies. The Jinchuriki chastised him, wagging his finger to and fro to the older guy. Do not call me that. Now, if you may excuse me, I am going to discover a new peeking spot. I suggest a pleasing little swimming pool. The sage introduced, leaving the new springs. Naruto smirked. It changed into a perfect manner to begin their bond. Sasuke loved the times in which he had nothing to do. One cause become because he ought to fill the time with extra schooling, which became why he became at the training subject. Any other cause for this changed into because he could take a ruin from all of the shop. The arena drama.it changed into pleasant to have a moment of peace. Sasuke-kun, I have to have visible that coming, he dryly commented to himself. Looking on the voice, he groaned outwardly at who it was. It changed into Ino, one of the most disturbing fangirls. She, Aim, and Sakura took the cake for his maximum excessive enthusiasts, and he could best tolerate his teammate. Most of the time. On occasion. No longer absolutely. Are you training? The blonde female requested, blushing barely. No, I'm dancing. Yes. Sasuke persevered practicing his taijutsu. Perhaps you ought to take a rec. Need to head get a few ice cream? We are 5. Why is she asking me on a date? No. Okay. She responded, crestfallen. Then, perhaps we may want to have lunch collectively the following day, she supplied optimistically. No, the Uchiha repeated, switching to training his shuriken jutsu. He was annoyed he could not do extra superior education with Ino around. Why? She all at once yelled, causing Sasuke to stiffen. That become new. Why what? He chose to answer. Why do you usually do stuff for Sakura and now not for me? She wondered him as her eyes started to water. Sasuke threw a shuriken as he questioned the way to respond. It was difficult to say that he reputable Sakura greater due to how she helped him all through the battle, additionally referred to as sacrificing herself to keep his life. However, Ino needed to hear the truth. Sakura's nicer than you, he commenced. She changed into bullied for a way she seems, and for the ridiculous reason that I sat subsequent to her, and that appears to have turned her into a pleasant character. She has some horrific characteristics, however no longer as a great deal as the relaxation of you. The rest of you girls cannot stand the truth that she's a better character than you. There has been a short silence after he finished speaking. Sasuke failed to appearance to see her reaction, but what befell subsequent let him know. She started to sob hysterically, and ran far from him. He had blended feelings. He felt that he ought to have gone less complicated on her, but she needed to hear it, so he failed to feel that terrible she'll survive. It's now not the worst aspect to appear in the world. Sasuke concept as he continued to train. Sasuke did not doze off that night. Due to the fact he had back, there was a sure thought that nagged at him. He realized that he needed to determine something out. Naruto became a Jinchuriki. In the event that they had defeated Kaguya, he determined that he would want to take out Naruto to create the precise international. Bijou had been a supply of destruction. Villages battled for manipulate over them. The beings introduced nothing but chaos. They shouldn't exist. Extracting the Kyuubi from inside Naruto might kill him. However, there had to be a way he ought to live on. Sasuke needed to do his studies. He had extra time on account that he gave Naruto the task of finding a way to seal Black Zetsu. It became a beautiful day in Konoha. The solar was shining, birds have been chirping. Youngster, could you forestall following me? The day was hell. The Toad Sage became having this sort of correct day. He determined a waterfall wherein younger, lovely women had been prancing approximately and having fun. It was top research for his subsequent ebook. His telescope zoomed in on all of the proper parts. He laughed gleefully at how satisfactory the view changed into from behind his bush. This became the life he singed up for after publishing his first ebook. The subsequent aspect he knew. The worrying blonde idiot that accompanied him round started out to yell approximately how he become being a pervert, leading to the ladies scattering like mice. He wasn't a pervert, it become research. Why, do you peep on different ladies when you could just grow to be one? Naruto asked the elder. For example, attractive jutsu, he converted into his lady alter ego. Jiraiya's nostrils started to bleed. A bond was fashioned. They always teased her for having an unusually large forehead. Sakura in no way understood why. It became out of her manage. She failed to ask the person upstairs for this type of horrifying characteristic. She even grew out her bangs simply to cover it. But that did not seem very effective. In fact, the teasing regarded to it was often aim and her organization of pals from the academy. The youngsters were given a kick out of picking on her, and she or he became usually left in tears, which most effective goaded them on. She tried not to cry, she clearly did, however they usually began to leak out, blurring her vision and fueling the mean feedback. Even in addition, her mom continually advised her she wore her coronary heart on her sleeve. Became that one of these bad factor? Making buddies wasn't easy either. She felt secluded from the rest of her class. It turned into as if having a massive forehead singled her out, and made no one want to be buddies together with her. Could she blame them? She always thought she regarded bizarre together with her red hair and inexperienced eyes. Nobody would need to be pals together with her. So, it becomes such a big shock to her that Sasuke and Naruto have been talking to her. Before everything, she questioned if it turned into some complex prank being pulled on her, but they truly desired to talk to her. It became excellent, having buddies. The day they hung out together she turned into so happy, she ran domestic to tell her parents. She regretted it right now whilst her mom requested 1 billion questions and her dad wanted to ask them over. She might die if Naruto and Sasuke ever met her mother and father. After a brutal verbal attack, Sakura became left in tears at the ground inside the playground. Aim had another time teased her, and she cried. It became this sort of ordinary event, it'd be weird if she failed to cry. They left her alone as the sun started to set. The sky turned orange and the most effective sound became the pinkhead's wails. The playground was abandoned. As soon as human beings noticed the organization of mean women, they scattered as one of the ladies stopped Sakura from leaving. Now the swing set turned into still. It looked as lonely as she did. The tunnel looked dirty due to the fact a kid tracked dust throughout it. The slide regarded her due to the fact someone had drawn graffiti at the aspect of it. The pinkette puzzled if the items felt as hurt as she did. If no longer greater. Just because something or a person couldn't guard itself, it didn't mean people need to be mean to them. She could no longer tell Sasuke or Naruto about this. It would best trouble them, and he or she did not need to wreck the friendship that they had. She ought to take the hits for the sake of their friendship. If she advised Sasuke, the girls might get even extra jealous. It became like telling an instructor, its simplest made things worse. Hey, are you, okay? Someone whispered. She hadn't heard every other man or woman arise to her. Searching up and sniffling, it become a lady who she vaguely known. She become sporting a red coat that regarded a piece too huge for her and black trousers. Her hair turned into darkish blue and she had lavender eyes. Sakura realized that the eyes had been of someone from the horrifying eye extended family her mother instructed her about. Or became that Sasuke's extended family? She did not understand the distinction. Seemingly, they each had scary eyes. The cherry blossom didn't solution the female's query and endured to cry. The female in the front of her shuffled awkwardly before taking a step lower back. It regarded as though she become approximately to leave. They usually select on me. Sakura found out, no longer looking her to move. She rubbed her eyes, attempting to prevent herself from crying. The blue-haired woman twiddled her thumbs collectively. Why? She built up the braveness to ask. Due to my... Sakura didn't want to say it. My forehead. She whispered, resting her chin on her knees. The woman checked out her forehead instantly and frowned. I don't see what is so horrific approximately it. She spoke back. If any person from the scary eye extended family did not see what turned into wrong together with her brow, then maybe it wasn't so bad. In reality, the comment made Sakura feel 10 instances better. She smiled through her tears on the girl, who smiled again. What is your call? She requested. It became hard to take into account all people's call of their magnificence. Sakura. The pinkette replied. What is yours? I am Hinata. Wanna. She started, her cheeks tinting crimson. Wanna be friends? Hinata turned into taken aback by using the unexpected idea of friendship. She didn't have any pals and right here a person become who wanted to befriend her so easily. Oh okay. She stuttered, the corners of her mouth perking up. Sakura stood and grabbed onto her new pal's hand. Allows pass on the swings. She exclaimed and they both laughed as they ran to the glad swing set. 18 years vintage. A rite of passage, a few might say it turned into. Sasuke would not for a second, generally because he become turning 6 years vintage on this timeline. There were so many troubles with being a man in a toddler's frame. He understood things that he failed to as a baby. Occasionally, his father would go away his and Mikoto's room with a much less stern facial features. A couple of minutes later, his mother would depart the room with sweat on her face. As a baby, he used to suppose they just had a fight. Now he understood it became something a lot greater scary. They had intercourse. Sasuke felt the want to vomit. On his 6th birthday, he was taken aback when he noticed the multitude of presents his circle of relatives had offered for him. He failed to normally get gifts after graduating from the academy within the authentic timeline. Fangirls tried to force affords upon him, but he continually refused them. When he was schooling with Orochimaru, his birthday turned into simply every other day that went by way of without exhilaration. Now, his residing own family gave him training tools, except his mom who sold him a tiger teddy. Naruto gave him a ramen coupon, and the Uchiha laughed in his face. The blonde wasn't the most effective child who had given him a gift. Sakura had bought him a box of sweets. She concealed them at the back of her again and blushed furiously as she decided whether to provide it to him, or now not. In the end, she gave him the present, and he widespread. Now Sasuke did not like chocolates. In reality, he hated them. So, he determined it reasonable to offer the chocolates to Naruto. Those are so excellent, the Jinchuriki exclaimed, speaking along with his mouth complete. Where'd you get them? He requested as he threw another chocolate into his mouth. Sakura gave them as a birthday gift. He failed to assume Naruto to spit out the chocolate, but it landed some feet in front of them. What? If those were a birthday gift, why did you provide them to me? Naruto questioned him. He idea it became apparent. Due to the fact I do not like goodies. But you cannot give away the candies like that. They may be from Sakura-chan. The communication then dissolved into a controversy, with Naruto shaming Sasuke for giving freely a present, and with Sasuke retaliating that Naruto was too touchy. The fight ended when they were given annoyed at every other and started out to poke the other at the forehead again and again. Aside from that, the day was quite a whole lot uneventful. The day after Sasuke's birthday, the two-time visitors made their way to the academy. Upon arriving on the lecture room, they observed Sakura chatting to Hinata at the again. "They're buddies?" Naruto requested, taking pictures of stressed appearance to Sasuke, who shrugged in response. The two then walked over to her, and he or she beamed up at them. "Sasuke-kun, Naruto-kun. That is my friend, Hinata-chan." The Hyuga smiled and awkwardly waved earlier than setting her fingers into her lap. "Hi, Hinata-chan!" the blonde exclaimed as the lads sat down. She mumbled something returned however then the pinkette nudged her. "Hi, and Naruto-kun," she answered, giving him a smile with purple cheeks. After, she straightaway looked immediately beforehand inside the study room. Nicely, it makes sense, Sasuke thought. Sakura and Hinata were both shy, so maybe they bonded. Perhaps it happened as a result of her not turning into friends with Aino. Naruto remembered a lot about Hinata within the warfare. He remembered seeing her use the gentle fist preventing fashion to take down a Ten-Tails clone. He additionally recalled her combating to shield him, basically sacrificing herself before Niji had jumped in the manner. Moreover, she had been the only to convince him no longer to give up and keep fighting after her cousin's death, and he would by no means neglect what she did at some point of Pain's invasion. "Good day, Hinata-chan," the elegants were chatting amongst themselves as the tasks were set. The Hyuga grew to become to him along with her full attention. "I am happy that we're buddies." For, as soon as she failed to blush. As a substitute, she grinned at him and nodded. "Me too." "Hey, Sakura-chan!" Naruto shouted on the pinkette when they were set free of the academy. She grew to become to him with extensive eyes. "He is so loud," she notioned with a smile. "What is it, Naruto-kun?" she asked. "Team, and that I are going to teach with our sensei. Do you want to include?" he requested, hoping it would be easy to persuade her. "You have a sensei already? He's greater like a educate," Sasuke replied, taking walks up to them, "a family buddy." Shursui Uchiha. Sakura had by no means heard of him. "Properly, wouldn't he have a problem if I got here?" She puzzled them, not looking to impose on their training. "Ugh, I am going to bypass all this speak," Naruto decided. "He'll be high quality." "Shursui-sensei's clearly cool," he said, grabbing onto her hand to take her with them. "I do not know. Sakura-chan, let's pass. Perhaps some other time permits move." "Naruto!" The dobe picked her up and placed her over his shoulder, running off as speedy he ought to. Sasuke accompanied after them with an amused expression on his face. Shursui didn't expect his students to arrive with a woman. To be sincere, he did not realize the idiots had other buddies, no longer to say a lady buddy. "Sakura-chan can educate with us, proper, Shursui-sensei?" Naruto asked him, his eyes pleading with the elder Uchiha. Certain." He grew to become to the girl who became shrinking at the back of Sasuke and looking anywhere however at him. "What is your closing call, Sakura-chan?" "Harino." She spoke back after a beat, still fending off his eyes. "A civilian. She would honestly be the hardest to educate." She regarded rather shy too. Fortuitously, Shursui had a way with people. "Study her. She's so cute." Without warning, he phased in the back of her and picked her up, ignoring the surprise on her face. He then began swinging her around. "The hair. She seems like a quiet flower." "Is he okay?" Naruto asked Sasuke, his eyes extensive. "He's," Shursui, was the reply. "He is in no way okay." "And that forehead?" The academy's students iced up on the comment. Confident Sakura would beat up everyone who stated shit about her brow. Shy Sakura might cry. Hell became about to break loose. "It is so adorable," Shursui completed, placing the girl, who felt totally violated, down. As opposed to crying, her cheeks went crimson and she or he covered her forehead along with her hands. The men sighed, happy that not anything awful had passed off. Transferring on. The sensei persevered as if nothing crazy had just occurred. Sakura-chan watched intently. He walked as much as a tree. "Oh, no," Sasuke grumbled. "This is how you throw a punch," the trainer stated, demonstrating at the equal tree. Thrilling. Sakura took out a notepad and drew an in-depth drawing of her teacher punching a tree. You're my favorite, Shursui stated to her. Hi there, that is now not truthful, the blond boy protested. Of course it's Miles. I'm the trainer. You are overdue, Itachi stated while Shursui seemed at their meeting location, the Amiguruma. Sasuke's brother had pretty the sweet tooth. It became still light out however past due in the day. I must be again for dinner quickly. He narrowed his eyes at his friend. Sorry. The elder apologized. They saved on asking me to reveal them a few techniques. How may want to I say no to the one's little men? Document. They brought a brand new pal with them and asked me to teach her. Sakura Haruno, the Shunshin consumer, informed the extended family inheritor. Haruno? Itachi had never heard the call earlier than. Yeah, they befriended a civilian. Didn't see that coming, Shursui laughed, nudging the opposite boy who made no physical response. What else? Not anything new. I don't know why you are so concerned. Shursui placed his arm round Itachi. So Sasuke-kun has become extra critical approximately training. What's so awful about that? He asked. You don't recognize, the more youthful one answered. Then help me. For some time now, he has been appearing extraordinary. That is why I requested you to keep a watch on him. He seems like an entirely distinctive person. He is developing up. He's 6. Itachi gave his best buddy a dry look. Within the life of a ninja, it really is nearly middle elderly. No, it is not. Yeah, it isn't always. Shursui relented. But what I imply. How are we friends? Hi, there, Umbu-san. Kakashi rolled his eye. The child would not leave him by myself. Granted, he turned into sitting in a tree and spying on him, however that become due to the fact he become allowed to. Wordlessly, he grew to become the web page of his ebook and pretended he changed into on my own. What are you doing? Have you no longer completed that ebook but? Naruto requested, scratching his head and taking a seat on a close-by department. Even I can read faster than you. They sat in silence for a moment. The Umbu took a quick 2D to look over on the blonde. He changed into sitting on a branch and staring up at the sky. They did not communicate, but he changed into simply sitting there, in entire silence. What did you imply while you stated you made a promise? The Jinchuriki asked all of a sudden. Kakashi made no verbal reaction, but his heartbeat became rapid. He shouldn't have brought that up. Ultimate time. Naruto's parentage become a village secret. The boy could be in threat if he become told the reality. What promise? The Jonin requested, gambling aloof. I know you recognize what I'm speak me approximately. The brat spoke back, narrowing his eyes. And do you recognize that you understand what you're talking approximately? The masked guy nearly laughed on the boy's dumbfounded expression. He appeared to be lost on the way to reply. Naruto's face grew pink, as he tried to parent out a way to respond. He hated it whilst humans used words to confuse him. Just inform me, he snapped. Do not feel like it. Then I will inform anybody that you're a pervert. They already know. Damn. The blonde concept. Kakashi were given him there. How changed into he alleged to get this data out of him. I am leaving, Naruto announced, looking down his nose at his Destiny sensei. However, I might be returned. Yay, Kakashi retorted with an unenthusiastic reaction. Every other day, some other schooling consultation with Shursui. The future Group 7 had been trying the leaf workout on Education Ground 6. They have been to stability the leaf on their heads using chakra. However, the slightest mistake could reason it to fall. It changed into a primary technique used to exercise chakra manage. Naruto and Sasuke understood that they needed to failing some instances. The previous chakra manipulate used to be appalling, and the latter used to have problem at the start before perfecting his chakra manage. Simplest one member got it on the primary try. Superb, Sakura-chan. Shursui clapped, and her teammates followed match. She smiled widely, barely proud of herself for purchasing the approach proper. First strive, baby, first strive. Inner Sakura pumped her fists. Shinaro, Sakura-chan, Naruto commenced, a suspicious glint in his eyes. With best chakra control like that, you could be a superb scientific ninja in the future. Sasuke's eye twitched. Absolutely? The pinkette requested, a hopeful tone present in her voice. Yeah. Just as good as Tsunade-sama, the Jinchuriki claimed, having narrowly averted calling her Oba-chan. He then grew to become to Sasuke. Don't you watch So Teen? The raven-haired boy glared at his pal earlier than turning to his woman teammate. She checked out him along with her eyes shining. No. It slipped out, he didn't mean to say it. No? Sakura requested, her face without delay falling. Sasuke glanced at Naruto and noticed that he changed into pretending to whistle as he stared up on the sky. After, he appeared toward Shursui, who turned into frowning at him. Then, he checked out again to an unhappy Sakura. He started out, giving up and letting Naruto win. I assume you will be an brilliant scientific ninja. The corners of her mouth moved upwards. Probable the quality in the world. She checked out the ground and blushed. Okay. Shursui clapped his hands, grabbing his college student's attention. Sasuke-kun, Naruto-kun, keep working on the leaf exercising. Sakura-chan, you and I are going to work on your taijutsu. Oh, okay. The female stuttered. As soon as Shursui and Sakura left, Sasuke pounced at Naruto. What did you do? He asked as he got the dobe right into a headlock. Identical element you did, the blonde responded, seeking to push Sasuke far from him. Doesn't experience so fine when it is executed to you. The Uchiha tripped the boy up, after which placed his foot on his stomachi. What do you suggest? When a person does something vital without telling you. The Uzumaki spoke back, glaring at his teammate. Sasuke took his foot off the boy and waited until he stood up. You're an infant. He stated bluntly. So are you. Naruto spoke back, gesturing to their bodies. No, you have got the thoughts of a child. You wanted to get back at me so that you made Sakura need to grow to be a medical ninja early? Naruto dusted off his clothes before replying. If you had paid even an ounce of interest to her earlier then, you will recognize that she usually wanted to be a medical ninja. She simply failed to realize how to start. Sasuke changed into surprise, but he failed to display it. It's your hassle. You only think about what is fine for you. The Uchiha remained silent. The two failed to speak to every different for the rest of the consultation. The following day, at the academy, Sakura sat awkwardly next to Hinata. In the front of them, Naruto and Sasuke have been sitting and correctly ignoring each different. The anxiety radiating from the two of them become apparent. The ladies exchanged concerned seams. The pinkette had attempted to invite each of them what changed into incorrect, but they brushed her off. She failed to simply recognize what to do. In view that she in no way had friends, she had no idea the way to manage such a situation. We want to pry the records from them, she whispered to Hinata, who nodded in agreement. You communicate to Naruto-kun, I will speak to Sasuke-kun. At lunch, Sakura approached a brooding Sasuke on the benches. Hi Sasuke-kun, you were not at the same old tree these days, she remarked. Is something going on between you and Naruto-kun? He looked at her with an expression of indifference. No, he stated after a beat, searching far from her. I do not subject myself with that fool. What do you suggest? You guys are best buddies, she answered, presenting him a grin. I do not have buddies. Rude you do. You have got Naruto-kun, Hinata-chan and… well, me? She let loose fun, as though he become being silly. We are your friends, Sasuke-kun, after which she smiled once more. Sasuke always noticed that smile. Constantly, she would provide him that smile in their genin days. It might always flash into his head whilst he lived in Orochimaru's hideout. He saw many visions of it whilst he labored with the Bito and the Akatsuki. After which he noticed her smile right before she died. Sakura. His tone became severe. The sky had grew to become gray, clouds looming over the village. Droplets of rain landed at the floor. Some humans started to whinge and ran internal. It had been this sort of sunny day earlier then. What? She requested, tilting her head to the side. What's it, Sasuke-kun? Before he should say something, a large explosion may be heard inside the distance. After the primary one, a couple of extra will be heard. Humans commenced to scream and others started out to scatter. Sasuke at once knew what was taking place. Konoha became being attacked. Everyone flinched at the sound of harsh thunder.